Good evening, everybody. I'm back. I'm Jack Remington of Jack Remington Political Analyst. Today's video's got to be short and quick, and I got to cut it quick because tomorrow is Super Tuesday, and I have to go to the Elections Board in Ventura County. I'm on the ballot myself. I'm on the ballot for the National Republican Committee member. It's an unpaid position, and I have spent $0 on my campaign. I was asked to join. I'm going to see how many votes I really do get. I know I'm going to get at least one. I'm going to vote for myself, so we'll see how I do. Back to the problem at hand. Today, I was driving my car on the way to get my tax returns from the accountant, and we owe the state of California almost $1,000 again. A couple hours ago, Amy Klobuchar just announced that she's dropping out of the presidential race. She's flying into Dallas, Texas tonight to support Vice President Joe Biden and her 7 delegates. She did have 7 delegates. She won in New Hampshire, she came in third. She looked pretty strong. She looked like she was getting momentum, but she was just pulling from Elizabeth Warren, who's neighboring below, Massachusetts, is starting to lose a bit of faith in her. But don't count Elizabeth Warren out yet. Yesterday, I saw on the news, Mayor Pete Buttigieg also dropped from the race, and I was watching his speech, and he started talking about how proud he was being a gay, and that's when I just turned it off. He should have never, ever gotten this far in any major party in American politics for the presidential office. I can almost see him as a senator. I can almost see him as a representative. I can see him getting a state house or a county house or board of supervisors, dog catcher, anything, but not the President of the United States. That is the biggest job, most visible job in the world. I think it's the toughest job in the world, personally. I call myself a presidential scholar, and I'll be having presidential scholar videos coming up shortly. Long story short, Mayor Pete, he's got the biggest ego I've seen since Hillary Clinton. Obama had a big ego, but Obama was a polished, slick politician. Obama, he planned his every move. I'm not going to say a whole lot of good things about Barack Obama because I would never have voted for him if he had put the gun to my head and fired 10 times. And if you missed the first 9, I'm still not going to vote for anyone like Obama ever. But I do admit that he was a slick-talking, smooth, suave politician, and he was very knowledgeable. And he usually had the cannons and ammo in line first before he made his moves. So I can't say about Pete Buttigieg. His city in South Bend, Indiana, is only the 4th largest city in the state of Indiana. It's a red state with the Honorable Vice President Mike Pence under Donald Trump is from Indiana. He must have the ego beyond compare, because this guy, he thinks that half the people in this country is going to forget the fact that he's openly gay. He's got a husband that kisses him on live TV in front of kids. Enough of that. Move on to the next topic. Today we are here in the Ventura studio. This is 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I gotta get this video out, I gotta cut it really quick and get a couple of screens for you to look at. I did watch the 60-minute segment about Bernie Sanders with Cooper Anderson. I thought Cooper Anderson did a decent job. He tried to hide his bias against President Trump. This 60 Minutes was actually one of the better ones I've ever seen in years. In this first segment, he had Bernie Sanders, and I'm gonna break this down. It's called Breaking It Down. Bernie Sanders, he didn't even answer half the questions properly. A quarter of the questions he just outright didn't answer. Bernie Sanders has mastered the gobbledygook of speaking without saying anything, and I'll break that down for you in a future video, because between now and November of this year, the presidential election's coming up. I'll have videos sporadically, not necessarily in chronological order, where items have come to surface about Bernie Sanders, what he's done in the past, what he said in the past, what his wife did, bankrupting him to Burlington College in Vermont. She should have been put in jail for bank fraud, but we'll get to that too. He is going to be the Democrat nominee. I told my wife I have a video on my other channel, and the first video got taken down, but the ticket that I had that was going to be opposing Donald Trump and Mike Pence in November was going to be Bernie Sanders as president and Elizabeth Warren as vice president. And I stood by that for over a year until last month. I revised the ticket with Bernie Sanders as the president, and I'm not sure who's going to pick as a vice president, because Elizabeth Warren, through the page 16 sexual harassment, when all else fails, throw the sexual harassment or a sex card at your enemy. And Elizabeth Warren tried to pull this thing against Bernie Sanders. But at the time, I did defend Bernie Sanders, because it doesn't matter whether he said it or not about a woman can't be president. Okay, I'm predicting Senator Sanders to destroy everybody in the California primaries tomorrow, because he's tapped into the Latino votes. He's offering amnesty for everybody. All 66 or 67, however million people are in this country illegally, he's going to give them all blanket amnesty. He's going to give them all health care. He's going to give them all free education. He's going to give them all student loan debts if they happen to have any, which they don't. Daycare, you name it. And they don't have one kid when I was married to my first wife. They don't have two kids like my wife here that I married. She had two Hispanic daughters, by the way. They don't have one kid like my neighbor next door. They don't have one kid like the lady that just moved in across the street adjacent to my house. Okay? The average Hispanic family has 6.8 kids. Okay? And that's today. In 1980, it was 11 kids. Okay? This is Gemini. So Bernie Sanders is well on his way. Right. Bernie Sanders is well on his way to bankrupting this country and wants me to pay for it. I know. Don't worry. I won't take any dog food away from you. Don't worry. This guy must be stopped. He praises Castro, but it's bad for Donald Trump, the president, to write a love letter to Kim Jong-un, the maniac in North Korea. But what Bernie Sanders is not telling you is that Donald Trump handled that perfectly. Okay? He initiated his very next action when he said he will suffer the consequences like the world's never seen if he doesn't cease and desist. And he said, I repeat this. I'm repeating it. He will suffer consequences like the world's never seen if he doesn't cease and desist. Well, guess what? He stopped. So then he's trying to patch up the relationship and give and take. He's keeping them at bay. Donald Trump is doing what he's supposed to do with his foreign diplomacy. He gets A++ in my book. That's his best area of his administration. It's a foreign policy. And I don't care about that Maria Yovanovitch, that the diplomat who should be put in jail. I don't care what she says. Okay, she should have been fired and put in jail for treason. Bernie Sanders is not telling you that his hero, one of his heroes that he stopped talking about recently, was FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the president under the Great Depression, the Big New Deal. FDR, his letters, he admits that he was under severe pressure by everybody, including his backers. He was raised in a family of bankers. That's why he never trusted the bankers. But he knew when to go get their aid and get their support when he needed it. Having said that, what FDR did, he did try to put the country to work with his civilian conservation corps. They built the Hoover Dam, they built the bridges, they built half of the state of Arizona, they built bridges in Idaho. They went to patch up things in the Panama Canal Zone. They did many things under the FDR. But what Bernie Sanders is not telling you is that FDR had love letters to Benito Mussolini, the first fascist dictator in Europe. Okay, and right after that was Adolf Hitler, the supreme fascist dictator, socialist, by the way. Adolf Hitler was a socialist. Look it up. And FDR, he had a big fascination, especially with Mussolini, how he could get a fascist movement going. And there was correspondences now being published, and you can look online and find this stuff. Okay, and I'll have it in future videos. I'm here to tell you that Bernie he won't talk about that, but he talks about how Castro made his people, he made them literate. Okay, yeah, well, what good's having a literate populace if they're stuck in jail and they can only read the propaganda from Cuba, what Castro wants you to read? What good is that? You know, I know he locked people up, murdered people. We were against that. Well, hey, pick and choose, Bernie, and you're not going to bankrupt this country. People like me are going to stop you. My prediction is that Bernie Sanders is going to get at least 50% of the delegates in California. This is my home state, where I'm living at now. He's tapped into the predominant Latino vote with the free amnesty and the free health care and the free daycare. Most of them don't really care about college, but the young Latinos that got some education, some of them are going to tap into that. And my daughter, she just graduated from USC, and half her class was Hispanic ladies. You know, they're tapping into it. Okay, but for the next 5 years, I got to pay a big bill for my daughter's education. They got it for free. That's wrong, folks. Hey, YouTube, hey, world, that is wrong. Let me finish my prediction. Bernie Sanders, he's going to mop up in California, for sure. I think he's going to carry the day with most of the delegates. Michael Bloomberg's going to do some damage, possibly his home areas. I must give credit to Jim Brohannon of the AM Talk Show. In mid-January, he came out with a talk segment. I was driving home in a rainstorm, and one of the rare times it rains in California. In the hard driving rain, I pulled off on the side of the road to a McDonald's parking lot to listen to his show. And he talked about the broker convention, and he reminded us, to people who follow politics, that the last broker convention where they couldn't get the ballot in the first round delegation, and it's when Ally Stevenson was running for Democrat nomination to see he would go up against Major General, Supreme Commander of Allied Armed Forces, Dwight Eisenhower, otherwise known as Ike Eisenhower. And Ike Eisenhower was a hair away from signing up with the Democratic Party. Thank God he didn't. But it took 3 rounds at this broker convention for Ally Stevenson to get enough delegates to carry the day to become the nominee for the Democratic Party. Of course, Eisenhower crushed him in the election, but it doesn't matter. This is a different time, like everybody's saying. And there's enough people out there that want the free stuff that Bernie's giving the store away. Free this, free that, and tax billionaires. And I'm going to say one more thing. Bernie Sanders used to rail against the millionaires too, and I'll have those old videos up where he's bashing millionaires. The word billionaire was never mentioned in one video I saw when he's got white hair instead of no hair now. I'm not knocking you personally, Bernie Sanders. I'm not knocking you personally, Bernie Sanders, but what you're standing for, you're trying to win the election based on lies, and you're the biggest hypocrite, and you're worse than Hillary Clinton. You were worse than Hillary Clinton. Everybody knew she was a snake and a hypocrite, but you're painting yourself up as the great grandpa that's going to give all the grandkids good things, you know? No, you are a fraud. And you call Donald Trump a con man and a liar, a pathological liar like you did on 60 Minutes? I'm going to take you to task for that, Mr. Sanders. I'm going to take you to task. I'm going to put videos out like you've never seen. He's going to win California, and he's probably got a couple other Western Coast states in the bag, but I'm not so sure about Arizona. I'm not so sure about Texas. And so if Sleepy Joe can get some momentum going and get Texas, and that'll suck up more delegates, and then Michael Bloomberg can get anything at all. If he can get 100 of the delegates of 1991 as needed, I mean, that might be just enough to get the broker convention. So I'm rooting for the broker convention. That's why I'm now putting out the video right now instead of the middle of January when I first heard Jim Bohannon remind us all about the broker convention, why Michael Bloomberg got into the race in the first place. So Michael Bloomberg doesn't care a one iota about how he looks on the stage. He doesn't want to become president, folks. You think he wants to become president? This is all just a ruse. The money he's spending, that $500 million, that's like me reaching my pocket and taking out a nickel, 5 cents, a decimal and 0.05. That's what he's spending his $500 million for. He's worth $68 billion. He makes, listen to this, folks. Listen, while I got the camera running, while I'm on a roll, he makes $1,000 a second, per second. Michael Bloomberg, he makes $1,000 a second. If he's walking down the street and he sees a $100 bill on the ground, he goes to pick it up and picks up. He's just lost $400 a second because it took him 5 seconds to pick up that. He's going to gain the 100, but he's going to lose 500 for that 1 second pick up a $100 bill. That's how much money Michael Bloomberg makes. You need to understand how that works. He's making money as we speak. That piddly $500,000, he's going to make that back, if he hasn't already made it back. He may even wind up making money on these deals. I was correct with my prediction with South Carolina that Sleepy Joe was going to win that primary, and he did. This is London. This is my daughter's dog. In London, he's a good boy. He's a mixed terrier miniature pinscher mix. He's a good boy. He likes to bite people. He thinks he's a tough guy, but he's really a good boy. And I'm gonna have a separate video of why Donald Trump had all the trouble he's had. There's one specific reason, and no one has been able to figure this out yet. I figured it out in 2015 why they wanted him gone. And now I'm going to finally present my case. It's an easy, simple case to present why Donald Trump has to go. And I'm going to have that video for you shortly. Or I'm going to have that video for you in the next couple of weeks. So thank you. Have a good day. Always great day to be an American. Thank you. Please subscribe, thumbs up, comment below. Thank you.